Yeah, they take on the Brazilians tonight. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff. It is live on talkSPORT, of course. Thiago Silva, beating the heart of that. He's nearly 41.
What a player!
What a player!
I don't recall I can't recall a player that makes the game look so easy, Jeff. Every time he plays, he cruises around the field. And of course, you'd think at the age that he's getting to, you'd think he'd be vulnerable a little bit maybe when he's one-on-one. But it never seems to be the case. He always seems to be just that half a yard ahead, and I think Chelsea have missed him. Look, I appreciate they had to move on, and I appreciate they had to find other solutions to try and get the right combinations at the back. But still, a fantastic influence on any team.
You would have to think they've got a great chance, Chelsea, of reaching the final. Fluminense, I think they're sixth in the Brazilian league at the moment, not far off the top. A year ago, they were bottom. The Brazilian media call them the ugly ducklings. Right. So I think they've surprised everybody. So you think Chelsea have got a wonderful chance, whatever you think of the tournament, of reaching the final?
Well, you would think so. And you've already mentioned about the riches that are on offer. So it's vitally important for Chelsea that I think, having committed to the tournament as they have and have reached this stage, that they really go for it now and try and get it won and get it done. I think that it's going to be really interesting how these teams that are involved in this competition, Jeff, how they get on in December, January, Feb. It is going to be very, very intriguing, I think, to see how players cope with the demands of keeping going into mid-July, and how they pick it up again once we get going for the new Premier League season. I remember in the World Cup in '94. I'd only been at Villa a year, and I remember playing in that tournament and hitting a brick wall in sort of early December, really feeling completely knackered, shot to bits, and finding everything, whether it was training, whether it was matches, felt like you was plodding and a bit sluggish, and it's difficult sometimes to snap out of that. So it remains to be seen exactly how the full ramifications for these teams.
So when Gabby was saying a minute ago, that Chelsea should be looking at being contenders next season, do you think this tournament might stop them doing that?
I think that the size of their squad will need carefully manipulating, and how Enzo Maresca uses that, I think, is going to be even more crucial, and there'll be more eyes upon the way that he utilises his players. He's got great numbers, got a young team, and there's some new faces coming in that will be keen to do well. Good players too. I like Pedro in particular. Liam Delap, I think, is going to be intriguing to see how he figures. Jamie Gittins, they spent a lot of money on him. We'll see how he fares, but they've got some good players. I like the shape. If they're all fit at the start of the season, Jeff, I like the look of the team. I think it can be a very useful one, but how it all pans out over the course and distance of 10 months of Premier League football on the back of this summer, I think it's going to be interesting.
No Colwell or Delap tonight.
Right.
So we could see Pedro, you mentioned him a moment ago, make his first start. He's been talking to talkSPORT's Ben Jacobs, who asked him where he hopes to be playing.
I would say striker. I like to play number 9, but also I like to feel free on the pitch. That's what Enzo said to me. Play like a number 9, but also come deeper to link up with the other players. I'm a very technical player. I like to score as well. And I think also I play like a 9, but I also have a mind like a 10 as well. So I think this link up, this combination with the teammates, I think will be good for Chelsea.
Well, he's talking about being a number 9. It's going to be interesting to see just how he does fit in when Delap and Nicholas Jackson are both available as well.
Yeah, it is. And as we saw in a Brighton shirt, that not only did he play as the 9, he also played as a 10, a little bit deeper. He can do that. Now, I think it's vitally important for Chelsea, if they're going to have a successful season, playing Cole Palmer as the 10, Jeff. There was periods last year where Palmer played off the right side, in that spell when it wasn't happening for him. And he struggled off the right side. He wasn't getting involved in the game as much, and he looked like he was sort of drifting through matches. When he's right and when he's at his best, Cole Palmer, he's a huge influence. So I would imagine that that's going to be a real battle between João Pedro and Liam Delap for that 9. I think Nicholas Jackson is going to find it very difficult in that sort of company now. But Chelsea have got to move on a gear. They need that little bit more from that number 9. They've now got 2 very good, I think, young players that can really have a battle to see which one of them's going to play most and score on a more regular basis. I think that's the key for them.
The immediate prize, of course, is not just a shed load of money, but it's a prestigious one against either PSG or Real Madrid as well. Now, a man who knows Brazilian football more than most, Kleberson, joined Adi Oladipo and Troy Deeney on kickoff last night. He's expecting Chelsea to find it tough this evening.
They compete hard, they compete well. They show for all the world how Brazilians like to play. Also, the fans on the stand is amazing. That kind of stuff make me so happy.
Yeah, and also looking at that from a Chelsea point of view, in the UK, people think this is a given that Chelsea are going to get through. I think this is the toughest game Chelsea will play so far. Yeah,
it will be super tough because that's the only opportunity the Brazilian team has to play against top team like Chelsea. If they beat Chelsea, imagine how would they go the history for Brazil, you know? That's why the games make the game so difficult. Also, the fans understand the time of the game. There's a 3 o'clock kickoff. It's a lot of things push for Brazil team, you know? That's why it's going to be super hard game for Chelsea tomorrow.
Well, Fluminense are going to be up for it. The big question that emerges from that, though, if you're watching on your smart TV or YouTube, what the heck was Deeney wearing there? Has he run out the clean shirts?
I was going to say, Troy, he's come pretty casual there, hasn't he, Jeff?
Completely casual. A vest. It is not a good look. Not a good look at all. Just look at the boys on Love Island, Troy. Look and learn.
He looks like he's just come off it there.
Yeah. You've got to fancy Chelsea, though, haven't you, this evening? You have. Really, without... Yeah. Being disrespectful towards the Brazilians.
No, I think so. I think Chelsea have had some good results in the competition. The Benfica result, I think, was a good one. That kind of put a bit of a marker down, and I think they'll carry on tonight. I wouldn't say anything in the sort of conditions and the heat out there. Anything is a given, but I think all things considered, if Chelsea get about their game and pick it up nice and early, I think they'll have too much, and I think they'll win the game, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see as well. João Pedro starting, wants to play as number 9. Normally, Maresca likes to ease players into the squad, but that's not going to be the case with João Pedro. Looks certain, I think, to start.
Do you not think,
this
Jeff,
evening?
You know, I always hear this about easing people in and they want to graduate. How about we just do, and again, forgive me as an old man, but how about we just throw them in like we used to? When you sign someone for big dough, big money, paying them a get in there and get about it and get on with it.
And that's what the fans want to see. It's exciting. They've made a big signing. Let's see him in a Chelsea shirt.
Get him out there straight away.
Couldn't agree more, Andy.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.